Okay, so let me just lay out exactly what happened here, because this thing went from zero to everywhere in about 48 hours, and a lot of people still don't have the full picture. You've got Megan Thee Stallion, 3-time Grammy winner, and Klay Thompson, 4-time NBA champion. They went public with their relationship in July of last year. She was at his games. She cooked Thanksgiving dinner for his entire family. His dad went on record and said it was the best Thanksgiving meal he'd ever had. She was cheering courtside during what was honestly one of the worst seasons of Klay's career. His team finished 26-56 and didn't make the playoffs. She was even talking about manifesting an engagement, not through some careful publicist statement, not through a quiet announcement. Megan Thee Stallion went straight to her Instagram stories and just let it all out. She accused Klay Thompson of cheating. She talked about how he had brought her around his family, let her play the role of a serious girlfriend, built something that felt like a real future, and then suddenly he wasn't sure if he could even be monogamous. She talked about horrible mood swings she had to deal with during basketball season. She talked about holding this man down through his worst professional stretch. Then she signed off with, B***, Chach, I need a REL break after this one. Bye, y'all. So the first thing worth actually paying attention to is how Megan chose to do this. Because she had options, she could have let it leak slowly. She could have stayed quiet, just quietly unfollowed him, let the internet figure it out eventually. Instead, she opened up her own app, typed it out herself, and posted it for every single one of her millions of followers to read at the same exact time. The message wasn't vague either. She was specific. She talked about being brought around his family and playing house while he was apparently stepping out. She talked about carrying his emotional weight all through basketball season, while he was dealing with what was arguably the worst stretch of his career. She described a man who, after all of that, came back and said he wasn't sure if monogamy was something he could do. And here's the thing that made all of this hit even harder. She had a Broadway show that same night. Megan was in the middle of an 8-week run of Moulin Rouge, the musical. So she posted that message, and then she went to work. She got on that stage, she performed, and at the end of the show, during the curtain call, she got a standing ovation. And right there, in front of everyone, she turned away from the audience and wiped tears off her face, still in full costume. Someone in the crowd filmed it. Within hours, it was everywhere. That clip is honestly what made this whole thing go from celebrity gossip to something people actually cared about, because watching someone hold it together in public when you can clearly see they're falling apart inside, that hits different. Doesn't matter who you are or whether you follow either of these people, that moment was just human. While the support was pouring in for Megan,
a professional athlete that has been making a gazillion dollars for however long Klay Thompson's been.
Ebro got on his show and said something a lot of people didn't want to hear. He basically said, nobody should be shocked. His argument wasn't that cheating is fine. He wasn't defending Klay on that. What Ebro was saying is that people acted like this was some crazy unexpected thing, when if you just looked at who Klay Thompson actually is, the signs were always there. $300 million. 4 championship rings. Spent his entire adult life as one of the most famous athletes in the world, running with Steph Curry, living in a world where access and options are just constant. That doesn't go away because you start a relationship. Ebro actually said he thinks Klay tried. He thinks when Klay brought Megan around his family, when he introduced her to his people, he was probably genuinely serious at the time. But here's where it gets interesting. Ebro connected it to where Klay is in his career right now. Last season was rough for him. Fewer minutes, fewer starts, a team that missed the playoffs. For a guy who built his whole identity around being elite, that kind of decline messes with your head. Your ego starts doing weird things. And Ebro's point was that a man in that headspace, who was also used to being very much outside for most of his life, probably wasn't equipped to handle all of that in a healthy way. The beginning of the end for an athlete, is how Ebro put it. When someone who's been exceptional their whole life starts feeling like they're ordinary, and they deal with it wrong, Ebro caught some criticism for the take. But honestly, a lot of people couldn't actually argue with the logic. Wack 100, on the other hand, was not doing measured analysis. Not even a little bit. Hey, are you looking for a fresh and engaging voice for your podcast or social media? Then I'm the voice for you. He went on a live stream and just went off. His core claim was that Megan should have known from the jump that this relationship wasn't as serious to Klay as it was to her. That she was the one emotionally invested while he was just kind of along for the experience. That the whole dynamic was unbalanced and she had been the one really holding on. Then he went further. He accused Megan of using the relationship to get closer to the sports industry. His argument was that her music career had taken some hits and she was looking for a new lane, and that dating Klay Thompson was basically a move to break into a different world. That she wasn't just in a relationship, she was networking. That one caused serious backlash. He also pulled out the Beyoncé and Rihanna comparison, said you don't hear this kind of public messy breakup drama attached to their names. The implication was that Megan keeps finding herself in these chaotic situations, and at some point you have to look at the pattern. People fired back hard on that one, because comparing Megan's situation to Beyoncé or Rihanna without mentioning what Megan has actually been through, the lawsuit with her label, the Tory Lanez situation, years of being publicly dragged and then having to prove herself all over again. That's a pretty convenient comparison that skips a lot of context, but Wack wasn't interested in being nuanced. He said what he said. People came at him hard, and the clip spread fast. While all that noise was happening, Angel Reese showed up in Megan's corner. She didn't do a long breakdown. She didn't try to go back and forth with anybody. She saw the clip of Megan crying on the Broadway stage and she reposted it on X with a message that honestly hit harder than most of the commentary that came from people with bigger platforms. She wrote about how it says everything that Megan showed up to that stage at all. That. Carrying something that heavy and still going out there and performing, that's what makes you that girl. She called herself a little sister. She said she was writing for Megan at dawn. Short post. Completely genuine. You could tell immediately it wasn't calculated. Angel Reese and Megan have been publicly close for a while. Reese actually appeared on stage during Megan's headlining set at Lollapalooza a couple years back. So this wasn't some random celebrity jumping on a trending topic. This was someone who actually knows Megan deciding to show up for her publicly at a moment when a lot of other people were either picking sides or throwing shade. The response to it was really different from the response to Wack's comments. People appreciated it. It also pulled in a whole new audience. Sports fans who don't really follow hip-hop gossip suddenly had a reason to be interested in this story. Charlamagne the God came through with probably the most divisive take of all, because it wasn't really about Klay or Megan specifically. It was about the reaction itself. He said people were way too invested in this, that the level of outrage didn't match the actual relationship. They weren't married, no kids involved. They had been together for less than a year. Why are we treating this like some long-term marriage fell apart? He acknowledged that feelings can get deep fast, especially when someone brings you into their family the way Klay did. But his whole point was that the investment happened before there was real commitment on both sides. And he said something that a lot of people kept quoting after, that every woman needs real male friends in her circle. Because a real male friend, he said, would have told Megan from the beginning to not get too open over Klay Thompson before he actually showed her something concrete. He was very specific about why. Klay's history with relationships before Megan wasn't exactly clean. There had been cheating allegations connected to him before, with other women, previous relationships. That's not secret information. It's just information people chose to look past because the relationship seemed to be going well. Charlamagne's framing was basically, the information was always there. Feelings can make you not want to see it. He got pushback too, because some people felt like that puts the responsibility on Megan instead of Klay. But Charlamagne's point was that he wasn't letting Klay off the hook. He was saying that going in with eyes open matters. Klay being an athlete with money, access, and a history of being outside, that's not a man you get fully committed to before he actually shows you real commitment in return. Right around when people thought every angle had been covered, Pardison Fontaine posted a video. If you don't know that name, Pardison is a rapper who dated Megan from 2021 to 2023. Their breakup had its own drama. When they split, Megan dropped a song that a lot of people read as being about catching him cheating. Oh, yes.
Not happening again. For 3 years, like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all have kept me involuntarily on this email thread.
Towels. Pardison denied being unfaithful, but in a podcast interview, he admitted to hiding messages from her and said that, in his view, that was its own kind of betrayal. So there's a whole history there. The night that Megan split with Klay was going viral. Pardison posted an Instagram video of himself singing a cover of Jagged Edge's He Can't Love You, a 1999 R&B track where a man basically tells a woman that whoever she's with could never love her the way he does. He sang it straight. He captioned it praising Jagged Edge, tagged the group, kept the post technically neutral. The comment section did not accept the neutrality. We the people see what you doing, sir, someone wrote. Another person said, not right now. Not right now, damn it. Fans immediately started connecting the dots. Klay allegedly cheated on Megan. Pardison, who also faced cheating allegations from Megan, is now posting a song about how another man can't love her right. The irony of that is genuinely something. Is he reaching out? Is he taking a shot at Klay? Is he just a guy who picked a deeply unfortunate moment to post his favorite R&B cover? Nobody actually knows. And the fact that nobody knows is exactly what kept people talking about it for days, after everything else had already settled. Through all of it. Every post, every live stream, every take, every comment section war, Klay Thompson said basically nothing. He watched the whole thing happen and stayed quiet.
I'm praying. You want me to have a husband? Yeah. Don't you want a husband? Don't you want a family?
No statement, no denial, no response to any of the commentary from Ebro. That's it, 4 words. And that comment somehow made the whole situation louder, because people started asking, is he quiet because he can't really defend himself? Or because he just doesn't care? Either answer tells you something. Meanwhile, a WNBA player named Lexi Brown got dragged into it. Social media had been speculating that she was the person Klay had cheated with. She came out publicly and denied any involvement, said the rumors were completely false, and said the situation had led to death threats being sent her way. She asked both Megan and Klay to publicly clear her name. Neither of them did. Megan ended her Broadway run early, posted a warm goodbye message to the Moulin Rouge cast and crew, and said she needed to focus on herself. She was spotted out in the days after, at a club, living her life, not laying low.